The first World Cup had 13 teams. One of them got a bye in the semi-finals because there weren't enough players. Another team's squad was almost entirely amateur. Uruguay won it all, went home, built a stadium, and hosted the next one just to prove a point. From that chaos, the most watched sporting event on the planet was born. Here's how it actually works. Every 4 years, the world's national football teams compete for one trophy, not club teams, not leagues, countries. Each nation fields one squad, its absolute best, and they all fight through qualifying rounds just to earn a seat at the table, and most don't make it. Over 200 nations enter qualifying. 32 get through from 2026, 48. But we'll get there. The tournament itself has 2 acts. First, the group stage. Teams are divided into groups of 4. Everyone plays everyone once. 3 points for a win, 1 for a draw, 0 for a loss. Top 2 from each group advance to the knockout rounds. The bottom 2 pack their bags, board their flights, and watch the rest on television like everyone else. Then the knockouts. 90 minutes. 1 winner. No second chances, no points, no consolation. Lose and you're done. It's clean. It's brutal. It's the reason neutral fans care about games that have nothing to do with their country. Here's the part most football fans can't actually explain. Why does the World Cup exist separately from the Olympics? Football was already in the Olympics. The best teams competed, crowds showed up. So why start over? Because FIFA wanted control. The Olympics had strict amateurism rules, meaning professional players couldn't compete. FIFA's president, Jules Rimet, believed the best football deserved the best players. He also believed FIFA, not the International Olympic Committee, should be the one running it independently on their own terms. So in 1930, he made it happen. Invited nations found a host. Uruguay volunteered. They were reigning Olympic champions and offered to cover travel costs for everyone, which was generous and also a little strategic. 13 teams showed up. Several European nations refused the 5-week boat journey. Argentina came, the United States came, Brazil came, and Uruguay, playing at home, won the whole thing in front of 93,000 people in a stadium they built specifically for the occasion. As you do. The tournament survived the Second World War, barely. It was cancelled in 1942 and 1946. When it returned in 1950, Brazil hosted, built the Maracana Stadium in Rio, and expected to win the final. Technically a final group stage match, came down to Brazil versus Uruguay. Brazil needed only a draw. Uruguay needed a win. 200,000 people packed into the stadium. Uruguay scored in the second half. Brazil lost. The silence that followed is still talked about as one of the most devastating moments in football history. An entire country went quiet at once. That's what the World Cup does. By 1966, the tournament was televised globally. England hosted. England won, the one and only time, and 400 million people watched the final. That was 1966. The world's total population was 3.4 billion. Roughly 1 in 8 humans alive watched that match on televisions that weighed more than most modern refrigerators. Then 1970, Mexico, color television. Pele's Brazil playing football that didn't look real. That World Cup is still considered by many to be the most beautiful ever played, not because Brazil won, though they did, but because of how they won. Passing, movement, goals that looked invented on the spot. It set a standard the game has chased ever since. Here's the detail that surprises people. The World Cup format has been redesigned 7 times. It started as a straight knockout with 13 teams, then 16, then 32 with a group stage added. Each change was controversial. Each change made the tournament bigger, messier, and more watched than before. The purists always complain more teams means weaker teams. Weaker teams means less competitive matches, and they're not entirely wrong. But they're also watching every single game, so the complaint and the viewership tend to coexist quite comfortably. The other thing people miss, the host nation automatically qualifies. No qualifying rounds, no pressure of elimination, they're in by default, which sounds like an advantage, and then you remember that the pressure of hosting, combined with the expectation of performing in front of your own fans, has produced some of the most spectacular collapses in tournament history. Brazil 2014. That 7-1 against Germany in the semi-final on home soil in front of the nation, that one still stings. The 2026 World Cup changes the structure again. 48 teams across 3 host nations, the United States, Canada, and Mexico. The group stage expands. More matches, more nations, more stories that have never been told on this stage before. Countries that have never reached a World Cup will reach one. Some will be eliminated immediately, some won't. That's the point. The tournament has always been about expanding the map of who gets to matter. Whether the football is better or worse is genuinely debatable. Whether 4 billion people will watch anyway is not. 13 teams on a boat to Uruguay, one trophy, no template, no guarantee it would ever happen again, a format rebuilt 7 times over 90 years, cancelled by a world war, revived by stubbornness, turned into mythology by players whose names outlasted the stadiums they played in. The World Cup isn't the biggest sporting event because football is the world's game, it's the world's game partly because the World Cup made it one. The cause and the effect blurred together somewhere around 1970. And nobody's untangled them since. You're welcome. Subscribe if you like this, it really means a lot.